So, good morning and welcome to the fourth week of our series here. Thank you for participating through the app. I love seeing your messages. I have, put up some pictures from the app up here, and I have been seeing some rock stars really, doing the check off every day, others, checking in every now and then. Whatever is supportive for you, please do it. Okay. So that's the entire objective behind not just giving this talk and then forgetting, what happened, but really having that touch points all through the week so that you are reminded that, this is not just one nutrition class or one nutrition talk. It's something that you can implement in your daily life, day in and day out, in a way that works for you. I know some of my divas are traveling, and I see, okay, I am in Washington, D.C. I am still, having my plate of veggies up there, right? So that's the objective behind having this nutrition series. So, what are we set for today? We'll have a brief introduction and a check-in, and then discuss about, what's up for today. Today is about legumes, beans, lentils, pulses, whatnot, however they are termed. That's what is set for today. A quick recipe demonstration. We'll kind of discuss what that is. It's in front of you. I did make a small tweak, and I was talking about it to one of our divas here, that how roasted became sauteed this morning. So, we'll talk about that. And then any Q&As, of course, a very quick quiz. No right or wrong. It's about reinforcing our learning, and then you get to taste, and then we get set up for the week ahead, right? So that's the framework. And this is what we have been doing all through the program. We started, I'll take you through a quick rundown of, what we have covered so far. We have some new divas here. Welcome, so that, everybody can get caught up with where we are. We will discuss the anti-inflammatory compounds in legumes, beans, pulses today. So different food groups do offer those anti-inflammatory compounds. And then as part of the other lifestyle pillars, today is about sleep, right? So that's kind of the idea here. So let's curiously check in. Who would like to share a bright spot in how they have been taking care of their health needs this past week? A bright spot.
Well, it's a bright spot for me, but since I've been doing this, I can honestly say that I've lost a few pounds because I had, my pre-op this week, and they have to weigh in all that. So I lost a few pounds.
Nice. Yeah. So you realize that investing in the fundamentals, right, day in and day out, allows your body to find that healthy weight over a period of time. And healthy weight is just a number. You will see it reflected in your blood markers, in your mental clarity, in your, everything, right? So thank you for sharing that. Who else would like to share a bright spot in their health investments this week? Go ahead.
Since I live alone, I don't enjoy going to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And I go as little as I have to, like maybe once or twice a week. But I am starting to purchase red and orange peppers, so I can have them with my spread. So I'm just buying different things
Uh-huh.
and enjoying them.
Yeah. So what I hear is you are paying attention to the colors that can be incorporated very easily for you in your eating
Because
pattern.
green peppers, and I like spicy, so I like the jalapenos. That works fine with me. But I found that the green peppers talk back, so I go to red and orange instead.
Yeah. It's also about figuring out, what sits with you and what doesn't talk back, right? Yeah. Thank you. One more, if anybody would like to share their bright spots, it can be very, very small. It's something that is, something that really stood out for you. Yes, one more. Yes, go ahead.
I just feel like having in the morning the overnight oats, like it really fills you up, and you don't. Oh, at least for me, I don't have that craving for that cinnamon roll or the what. It's not, what you're not supposed to have. So that has helped. But then I went to the dentist and I had a root canal, and I haven't been able to like make all my stuff. So I went to Whataburger. I just went the wrong way now. This coming week, I promise. I will be good again.
You bring up a lot of great points up there, right? One, you feel that when you start your day with the beautiful spices and flavors, that is part and parcel of that cinnamon roll, but you substituted it and made your overnight oats including those flavors. You don't feel the urge to get those not health supporting goodies later in the day. You also mentioned that when things didn't go as planned and you had to go to get a root canal, you went to Whataburger. So thank you for being honest. Being kind, being curious, and being honest is like very, 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 very near and dear to me. So if I have your permission to, go in a little bit inside it, right? Going to Whataburger or stopping by at fast food restaurants, even I do it, right? But next time when you go, right, how would you honor your, I think even before that, if you are okay sharing, what did you get from Whataburger?
A hamburger, French fries.
And
I
a
mean,
milkshake.
I didn't do milkshake. No, but I could have had like just the meat and the lettuce and tomato, because they do that for you. They'll take away the bread and the mayonnaise. And, I could have had that, but I was like so hungry.
Yeah.
The pain and like I just didn't want to do anything at home.
Right.
I just wanted to go out and eat.
Yeah. One is giving yourself the permission to do it. And the second thing is, that one act is not going to turn things upside down. It's about the 80-85% of things that you do. That's what matters, rather than this one, I don't know, dip. And, you're saying that, oh, I'm going to get back to things. It's like, I think many of you know the analogy of toothbrush, right? You forget brushing one night. What do? The next day morning, you wake up and brush your teeth again, not even kind of, remembering that happened or whatnot, right? So your eating or your lifestyle patterns are just like that, right? And something happens, that's just one point in time. It's not going to kind of take away the 80-85% effort that you do in your life, right?
Last night I had salmon though.
There we go. Yeah, that's the point, right? So it's about honoring what feels okay to do at a certain situation, and then getting back to your usual in some way, right? Yeah. So thank you for bringing up that challenge too, because that was my next question. And what I hear from you is you just got back to whatever you needed to do. Yeah, thank you for sharing, right? So going ahead, These are the beautiful pictures that some of our divas shared here in the app, along with all the eating pattern. I got to see, how some of you love nature, going around in the nature with your dog, your pet. I love this cute picture of, how one of our divas here had her pets up there. And I do see that many of you enjoy Thrive-Well exercise classes. Which classes do you usually go to? Yoga.
Water aerobics, aquafit.
Pilates. Kickboxing.
The first 30 minutes, I don't like it. And I told her. But after 30 minutes, I'm like, I don't want to stop.
Yes. So yoga, kickboxing, water aerobics, aquafit. You have a variety of, classes to go and explore, and each of the instructors are simply awesome. I love, and, I have been to those classes, and we just have the best instructors who can handhold you through the process. Salsa Fit is a class that I want to go to. It will happen at some point in time. I have gone for Tai Chi. Tai Chi is fantastic. Yeah. So, I'm so glad that, you prioritize your daily physical activity in a way that works for you. And it doesn't take a lot of time, right? It's about investing 30 minutes of your time, and that 30 minutes doesn't need to be in a single chunk. You can have 10 minutes each, during your day and still get your physical activity in. And that physical activity does wonders to your body. This is the beautiful dashboard that I get to see. Many of you check in very regularly, and I hope it is helpful and supporting you to, keep track of your progress. It's all there for you. In this past week, some highlights from the app lessons. There is that make veggie bucket once a week, so that, those vegetables are easily available for you, so that healthy choice becomes the easier choice. Physical activity, the benefits of physical activity, different ways of getting your physical activity. And I also shared some sneaky ways to add more vegetables, because I have a couple of picky eaters at home. So I have to be creative so that they really don't know that there are veggie inside it, right? So I shared some sneaky ways to put it in there. So to help our new divas, and also to kind of refresh our memories, I want to take us through a quick rundown of where we have been. We started our series explaining about inflammation. Inflammation is essential for your body. It's not something that should not be there. However, when that inflammation is present for a long period of time, when it becomes chronic, that's when, that's not helpful for you. So you can think of inflammation as soldiers coming to clean up any injury you have, right? Even inside your organs, those soldiers kind of get released from your immune system. They come and kind of clean up the place and help that part to get better and healthy. However, when those soldiers decide to be in a place for a long period of time, then, it's not helping our body. So, it's about having those soldiers come clean up anything that happens in your skin, in your organs, and they need to go back to their camp, right, to their headquarters, and not stay around in that place. So that's the first analogy that we discussed. Inflammation is key, or is one of those underlying factors that drives many of the chronic diseases. We discussed about a very quick lab that you can order from your PCP, the CRP, and the optimal range is for it to be less than 0.3, but anywhere between 0.3 to 1 is okay. When it gets beyond 10 is when, you need to really address it. How can you address it? Of course, there are medicines there. That's not our forte here. We are, looking at how lifestyle choices such as including anti-inflammatory compounds, not smoking, saying no to alcohol, being active, getting that good quality sleep, which is a work in progress for most of the human beings, and then managing your stress as well. All these factors kind of help you follow that anti-inflammatory lifestyle. Eating pattern is just one factor, right? So if you look at this plate, half of your plate is filled up with colors. And where do colors come from? Plants or animals? Plants, right? So vegetables, fruits, anything that you enjoy. And then you see here seeds and nuts. That's for the next Saturday. We'll discuss a lot about seeds and nuts. And then of course, healthy lean protein, including legumes, which is topic of discussion for today. And then of course, being active and managing your stress. Supplements are supplements, right? So if you're taking any supplements, make sure that your provider is informed about it. Omega-3 comes from foods. Omega-3 comes from food sources as well, but fish oil and fish oil is one of the supplements that's available there. Curcumin, turmeric is, there is turmeric inside here. Turmeric is that food where curcumin is available, and of course, vitamin D is anti-inflammatory. It supports your immune function. So another way, the first week we discussed about omega-3s, and in the last 2 weeks we have been discussing about low glycemic vegetables. Moving forward, we discussed about the different categories of vegetables, 7 categories of vegetables. We discussed about the benefits of vegetables. We concentrated on fiber the second week, where there are 2 types of fibers. What are the 2 types of fibers? There you go. We need both, right? And most of the vegetables, fruits, even whole grains have both the fibers. We discussed about, fiber being the skeleton of plant products, how fiber is important to clear off any nasty waste in your body, reduce your LDL cholesterol, regulate your blood glucose levels, and helping you feel satisfied. The 2 types of fiber, recommended amount is 25 to 35 grams per day for Americans. It's in DGA, right? Dietary guidelines of for Americans. It's recommended that we need to get 25 to 35 grams per day, and most of Americans only consume 15. But I'm sure by including veggies twice a day, you are very, very, very close to it, right? Last week we discussed about phytochemicals. Fighting, it helps your body fight against viruses, infections, helps your body fight against any inflammatory reactions that is happening in your body. And a colorful plant-rich diet will provide you all the antioxidants. We discussed about different categories of phytochemicals, carotenoids, flavonoids, polyphenols, indols, lignans, and curcuminoids. This beautiful, PowerPoint with all the colors, the red peppers, the carrots, kale, watermelon, chocolate, right? All those foods have different phytochemicals in them. Flavonoids needed a slide of itself, and all you can see here is, all the colors up there. The idea is, bringing together different plants as part of your eating pattern. We discussed about how combining foods helps improve or bring out more benefits from the different plants and vegetables. Combining tomatoes with olive oil brings out lycopene. When you squeeze some lemon on top of spinach or on top of legumes today, you will be able to bring out the iron availability. When you mix turmeric with some black pepper, the curcumin becomes more available. When you have eggs and any greens together, vitamin D and calcium makes calcium more available. So the idea is you can combine foods together to get more benefits from the different varieties of food. We discussed about different ways of cooking. You can have anywhere from raw to steam to blanch, and you can combine different textures to improve the flavor and to also get, benefits that are available in raw as well as cooked, right? So that's where we ended last week. So this week today, we are talking about beans and legumes. There is, a lot of, Some people say beans, some people say legumes, some people say lentils, some people say pulses. So what's the scoop here? Is everything the same, or is there anything, are there any nuances to all of that? That's the topic of our discussion today, okay? So I believe that beans have a soul. Because most of the time beans are dry, right? That's how, at least I have experienced them. But beans have a soul. I don't know who mentioned it, but they do have a soul. But what we will discuss today is we'll discuss about how legumes and beans have an impact on our health as well as the environment. We'll identify different forms of beans. There are around 16,000 varieties of beans in the world, and no way can I cover all of them. So today will be like, a 10,000 feet high review of at least the commonly seen beans and legumes here. We will discuss about different strategies that you can use to include legumes and beans in your diet, and then see how different cooking techniques can be used in the preparation of beans and legumes. Beans and legumes play a key role in anti-inflammatory diet, and anti-inflammatory eating pattern and Mediterranean eating pattern actually go hand in hand. So beans kind of come here: fruits, vegetables, grains, olive oil, beans, nuts, legumes, seeds, herbs, and spices. That's very, very key to, anti-inflammatory eating pattern and Mediterranean eating pattern. We will cover all of this in the last class, which is next week. But today, I think all through these 4 weeks, we have been spending a lot of time here because that's the foundation. That's where variety is. That's where, the meat of Mediterranean or anti-inflammatory eating pattern is. So what's the difference between legumes, beans, and pulses? Legumes are actually the plant where the pulses grow. Okay, so what are the pulses are usually the dried form of the seeds in the legume plants. For example, one of our divas here, with a lot of love, gave me the black-eyed beans, which she preserved. So the plant where it grows is called a legume plant, and the dried seed of, the pods which are dried is called pulses, basically. So dry beans, dry peas, chickpeas, lentils, those all technically are called pulses, but we don't have to worry about, the technicalities, right? But if somebody says pulse, you can understand that it's actually the seeds of the legume plant, okay? Soybeans, it's fresh peas and fresh beans are actually called beans, right? Because they are not dried, so they are just called beans. Soybeans, edamame, that's the mature string of beans from the legume plant soy. What are some examples of legumes and beans? Soybeans, string beans, dried beans, peas, chickpeas. As I said, there are like 16,000 varieties, and it's very hard to kind of, take everything because each country has its own sets of, beans that they love. For example, adzuki beans. Anybody came across that? Okay. It's like a smaller kidney bean, but the beauty of it is that it really kind of preserves its shape even when you overcook. And it's very, 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 very tasty. It comes from the African culture. I recently, when I was, scouting through HEB shelf, I came across Anasazi beans. Anybody? Yeah, right? I love them, right? So every culture has its own beans. In Indian culture, it's usually mung bean. Yellow peas is called tur dal. So it's usually called dal. So every culture has its own beans. So maybe kind of, introspect into your own roots and see, what pulses are available there, because going back to your roots and finding out those authentic authentic food ingredients kind of makes it easier to include it in your palate. So as I said, there are 16,000 types of beans or legumes that are grown all over the world, and they have different sizes, shapes, and colors. What are some health benefits of legumes? It does address all those chronic conditions. It helps in reducing any cardiovascular risk that you have. It helps regulate high blood pressure. Most of the legumes come very high in potassium, and potassium is very heart healthy. If you don't have any kidney related conditions, having pulses, having legumes is very, very, very heart healthy. It helps in regulating your blood glucose level. What's the magic there in legumes that helps with regulating blood glucose levels? What ideas do you have? Is it fiber? Is it protein? Is it potassium? It is phosphorus. What helps in regulating your blood glucose levels? Yeah, fiber, right? Fiber is something that slows down your glucose metabolism. So the fiber in legumes and peas helps regulate your blood glucose levels, right? It also helps, in preventing colorectal cancer or any of those GI related issues. It helps there. Legumes also come with, beans, pulses also comes with lot of minerals. Most of the legumes are very high in iron, in B vitamin, folate, manganese, copper, thiamine is again a B vitamin, and they are also high in fiber, which is a prebiotic, right? What is the difference between prebiotic and probiotic? Pre is? Before. Yeah, so pre is food for the probiotics, right? And probiotics is the good gut bacteria in your body, right? In your gut. So fiber is actually food, and legumes do have, or beans, pulses do have a lot of fiber. They are also the most healthiest plant-derived protein, right? I don't have to say plant-derived. It's part of it. You don't have to, there is no need to have manufactured plant protein. You can actually eat lentils, legumes, pulses so that you can get protein from them too. So the recommendation is, DGA recommends, dietary guidelines for Americans recommend that we have 3 cups of, 3 cups of lentils or legumes or beans in a week. How can you have it? Just having half cup serving per day. Choose your legume, choose your bean, and have half cup serving per day. What are some beans or pulses that you love to incorporate?
Red lentils.
Mm-hmm.
I cook it in my rice cooker.
Mm-hmm. And it gets nice and mushy, right? Yeah, and it's very comforting too, right? What else? Who else? What else colored beans do you like to incorporate in your eating pattern?
I like black beans.
Yeah. It's very easily available. You can get it in a can or soak them, and it's very easily available there. So I do want to bring up this beautiful colored picture of showing you, what is available in those beans, in lentils, and in dry peas. If you see here, beans have, as I mentioned before, they are, there are around 8 to 10 grams of protein in them. Eggs have how many grams of protein? Around 7 to 8 grams of protein. And this is like in half a cup, okay? And most of the animal products, if you are having 3 ounces of protein, which is your palm-sized protein, there is around 21 grams of protein, right? So beans or legumes or lentils are very, very, very close to having those 1 ounce of meat servings too, right? So just half a cup of, you said kidney beans. Let's see, look at kidney beans. Half a cup of kidney beans has around 8 grams of protein. How much fiber does it have? It has around 7 grams of fiber, right? And you mentioned about red lentils, right? Red lentils has 12 grams of protein in half a cup, right? Can you imagine, right? And they're very soothing too. And it has around 5 grams of fiber. Look at the potassium level that they have, right? And iron, which is a very integral part of your red blood cells, and it's very important for us women to have good iron levels. Magnesium, to help you relax your blood vessels and your muscles. Folate is another very important vitamin B to make sure that you have enough hemoglobin. So, and you mentioned about black beans. Let's look at black beans. Half a cup of black bean has around 8 grams of protein and 8 grams of fiber, right? So the idea, and then I wanted to highlight here, half a cup of boiled edamame has around 12 grams of protein, 12 to 15 grams of protein, right? And there is a slide by itself about the myth behind having soy protein. So what do you gather from here? Eat lentils and cook it in a way that sits well with your GI. Each of us has different GI capacities. You can actually when you cook or pressure cook veggies, lentils and legumes, it becomes much more available and it becomes much more gut healthy, right? And you are able to eat it and enjoy it rather than worrying about it getting gassiness and all of that, right? So that's the idea there. And you know what? Even lentils and legumes are very environmental friendly. It reduces, planting legume plants actually helps in nitrogen fixation, which means it reduces the amount of chemical fertilizers that we need to use. So because it improves soil fertility, what these plants do is they convert nitrogen in the air to nitrogen in soil so that plants can grow healthy. Okay, so if you are going to plant any legume plant this upcoming spring, plant one so that you are actually helping the soil. And you will notice, if I can share my own experience, we grow my husband grows in the backyard the string beans. And I noticed that with the soil or the plants that we put near the string beans really grow very, very healthy. So there is, evidence, that that's for certain true, right? So they are also environmental friendly. Let's look at some of the myths around beans. The most important one is soybeans. There was a time when research, or it's no longer supported, that soy increases the risk of breast cancer and that you need to avoid it, which is not true. Soy has phytoestrogens. And what does phyto mean? It's fighting, right? So, and those phytoestrogens are called isoflavones. And those phytoestrogens help actually remove extra estrogen that is floating around in your system, right? So it's actually protective against breast cancer, and it can also help lower LDL. It has high levels of calcium in it. So those of you who have any lactose sensitivity, any lactose intolerance, having soy as part of your eating pattern will help you get that calcium so that you can have stronger bones, okay? There was also a myth that you need to combine different plant-based food together to get all the amino acids, right? There are essential amino acids which our body needs. And there was a myth that, only animal-based protein can give you all those essential amino acids. It's not true. The idea is different plant products, including vegetables, do have amino acids. And when you're having variety of plant products as part of your plate, you actually get all the amino acids. So you don't have to combine, say, broccoli and lentil together. You can have broccoli in the morning and lentil in the evening and still get all the amino acids in your plate, right? So the idea is, include variety in your plate so that you can get all the amino acids. And the myth that, people who just eat plants are not healthy is no longer true, right? Any questions here that I can address?
It's a lot of information.
It is. And then the idea is, bringing it again and again and again kind of helps it reinforce. Okay. So you guys ready for our cooking session today? Okay. You can see that in front of you, it's roasted chickpeas. So I had change of plans and it's still roasted chickpeas. You can go and try it. It's a very simple recipe. But I thought I'll convert it into sauteed chickpeas, right? Everybody in for that? Okay. So I have around a tablespoon of avocado oil in here. And I'm going to crank up the heat. Where is my glove? Teeny weeny hands, but big gloves. Okay. I bought, it's 1.5 cups of red onions. I saved myself some tears from my eyes. So, feel free to make your life easy, comfortable, right? And then onions are alliums, right? That's a category of vegetable that we learned in our second week. And then put some onions. I'm going to allow it to saute for a few minutes. I want it to be nicely cooked. Okay, and as it is cooking, let's look at how can you include legumes, lentils, pulses as part of your eating pattern. You can add it to soups, yeah. You can add it to salads. You can add it to any pasta dish you make, right? So one of the actions for this week is to include 1/2 cup of legume as part of your eating pattern. You can choose it to include in your lunch, in your dinner, but try, if 1/2 cup doesn't feel doable for you, go to 1/4 cup, right? Or even just a few sprinkles of legumes do count, right? So you can include it as part of any of the dishes that you make, and you can also make dips from them. Yes, hummus. Yeah, and it's very easy to make hummus at home. In that online recipe basket that I shared, if you search for hummus, you will have different options coming up there. You can make dips from white beans, from chickpeas, from black beans with some olive oil, some tahini in there, a little bit of salt. And it comes out really, 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 really well. And you can even have lentil dip too. Guacamole with peas or edamame tastes yummy. And that white bean, you can make dip from that as well. You can even spread it on your bread and it tastes really yummy. Whole grain bread getting nicely cooked. Going to put in a little bit of salt so that the onion can get nicely cooked. what is another strategy to include? As I said, as a sandwich filling, you can actually mash, for example, the chickpea that we make today, you can actually mash it and then put it as a filling between two breads or between two lentil pancakes. You can actually put it between that. You can actually mix in any veggies you have and it will become nicely incorporated as part of your lentils. Lentils are very adaptable. They are very malleable to whatever you do to it, right? So that's another way to include it in your eating pattern. You can make burgers out of it, right? You can make patties out of it. Black bean burgers, tempeh. I think next class we will also discuss about how you can incorporate tempeh soy in your eating pattern. Zucchini white bean fritters. Go and search in that online recipe basket that each of you have access to, and you have a very healthy recipe in there. Chickpea meatballs, quinoa bean patties. It's like double protein and double fiber there. And then rice and bean burgers too. You can incorporate brown rice with beans to make patties. So those are all ideas that's up there inside the online recipe basket. I think onion has nicely cooked and browned. Going to add in some fresh cut. I have some green peppers here. I hope they don't talk back. But I'm going to nicely cook them, okay? Because when you cook, most of the times, you know, you can nicely cook them. The next way to include it in your diet, who likes crunch? If you just buy a can of chickpeas, drain the water and wash it, put it on a baking sheet, some salt, some pepper, any seasonings that you like. I love curry powder seasoning on top of it. And then you can roast it in your oven. If you have air fryer, you can roast it up there too. The recipe is available in that online recipe basket. And oh my goodness, you will forget chips. It tastes so yummy. And who wants to buy a bag of chips now? No, not at all, right? So that's another way. You can roast lentils too. If you buy a can of lentils or if you soak lentils, you can actually, you know, put it as part of your eating pattern.
Chickpeas and garbanzos.
The same.
Are the same, right?
Yes, they are the same. It's just the same thing. No, I think talked differently in different cultures, I think. So it's the same. Salt.
More salt.
Little bit of salt. There is around 2 teaspoons of salt here. The salt helps it cook little more quicker. And also helps the flavors to come out. Okay. What is another way you can? You can actually puree it into your soups or sauces. Different ways to puree it. And now I have around 2 cans of chickpeas or garbanzo beans, washed, rinsed so that all the sodium goes out, right? And just going to put it inside here. Where am I with regard to time? 9:15. Okay, I'm good. So puree into sauces and soups. So here are some cool ideas. If you have tomato sauce, even the store-bought one, you can actually mix in white beans along with it. and it tastes yummy. If you are making soup, right, you can actually, and if you're putting beans, you can take half out of your, soup that is made, nicely kind of churn it, blend it, and you can put it back into your soup to make it more creamier. Okay. So I placed all the chickpeas in the pan. And you can also add puree to your dressings too, so that it becomes creamy and thicker. Those are some, what are different forms of beans? There are dried beans, right? And if you have dried beans, you got to remember to soak them, because soaking reduces the lectins, the phytates in beans, which are anti-nutrients. I'm just going to put the remaining salt on top of it. So when you soak your beans, there are two benefits there. One, it removes those anti-nutrients. It also improves with reducing the gassiness. And second, it cooks easily, right? And you can purchase it in bulk or bag. We will also discuss, if at all you forget soaking, you can actually pressure cook it, but a little longer. Canned, you can buy it in cans. Most of the cans these days are BPA free, but look for BPA free cans and then wash it, rinse it, so that, all the sodium and extra, anything that is in there goes away. There are vacuum packed cartons available these days, right? So that's another way to get it. And then of course there are frozen beans and peas. The only thing is, look for any added ingredients. If there are any sauce or added salt or anything like that, look for a better variety, right? Here is curry powder. I just picked it up from the bulk section in HEB. Curry powder has turmeric and every spice that's in there. There is some cumin, some coriander, I think some chili, right? Yeah, and paprika and a little bit of turmeric too. So turmeric, which is antioxidant curcuminoid, is part of your curry powder. So if you just want one spice that incorporates everything, go for the curry powder. That's the quickest one, right? I'm going to place, put in that so that you are adding those spices and flavors. And give it a nice stir. Are you getting the nice? So that's how it's coming along. And legumes do have iron in it. What do you do to get the best iron from plant sources? What do you add? There. So I do have lemon here too. And it does add to the taste as well. So give it a nice stir. And there is one secret ingredient called aquafaba. Egg prices are really high. So if you love baking, aquafaba is a nice substitute for some of your baking recipes. And selecting the right bean. If you want firmer consistency in your food, just like today I'm making chickpeas, go for the firmer varieties. They don't lose their shape, right? But if you want creamer ones or softer, go for the lentils, go for the pinto beans, go for the white beans, because they get mushier, right? So depending on the texture you want, you can choose different types of beans and legumes. And if you forget soaking beans, you can actually pressure cook them. And you can actually cook them in your slow cooker too. Like it goes on for like 8 hours. So you can pressure cook them. I do forget soaking sometimes, but I always have the can in case. But if I forget and if I don't want to use the can, that's the timing. If it is unsoaked, black beans take around 20 to 25 minutes inside the pressure cooker. If it is pre-soaked, it takes only 5 minutes. So you see that, just take a little bit more time for it to cook if you want to use dry beans. And I also want to give you a small trick. Kombu, have you heard about kombu? It's like a seaweed, and you can actually put it, it's also a flavor enhancer. It has, lot of minerals that's available as part of kombu. It's also, very antioxidant rich. You can put it when you are making your soups, and it will actually help reduce gassiness and make your beans much more gut friendly. I think that's the word I was looking for. Gut friendly, and not worry about gassiness. Another way to look at it, if you are feeling a little bit of gas, that's okay. That's your healthy gut bacteria saying thank you for eating, prebiotics, right? Only when it gets, unbearable do you have to worry about gassiness. But this is another way to reduce gassiness. It's available in H-E-B, in Walmart, in Whole Foods, in Trader's Joe. And they do have, when you add kombu, there is a umami taste that comes to your soup. And I really love it, right? Sleep. Can you think back to your sleep this past night? How was your sleep? Short. Sleep is very, very important. It restores, it's very restorative. It helps I'm adding the last ingredient. I have switched off the skillet, and then I'm going to add lemon on top. You can't, when you roast it, adding lemon will actually cause that vitamin C to break down. So I would say if you want lemony taste to your roasted chickpeas, you can take it out and then, maybe, I don't know, yeah, you can put some, there are lemon peppered flavors. You can add that if you want. But if you're adding fresh lemon, it's after you turn down the heat. So sleep is very, very important. It's important to make sure that your enzymes and your hormones are nicely restored. It's important for all of your metabolic processes. How do you feel when you are really rested? How is your clarity of thought? It's very, 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 very clear. You feel like a totally different person, right? Those words coming out really clearly. So memory consolidation takes place. Your brain is refueled for the next day, and all your stress hormones are balanced. Strategies for better sleep, regular bedtime and rising time, right? Make sure that your bedroom is sleep friendly. 68, 69, 70. I like to be nice and cozy, right? So make sure that your bedroom is nice and cold, dark. There are light, what is that? Those dark color. Yeah, the dark blackout curtains. Thank you. Blackout curtains. So buy them. Have a bedtime routine so that you can allow your body to go from 100 to 0. Right? What are some bedtime routines that you guys have? Music, reading, writing, right? Guided meditation. So having established bedtime routine will help calm down your mind. And my best recommendation is switching off your electronics and screens at least 30 minutes before bedtime. It's very hard to do it, but once you get, once you feel the benefits of it, oh my goodness, it's like heaven, right? So for those who have TV in their bedroom, do that small introspection and hard conversations, whatever you need to see how you can make your bedroom a little bit more sleep friendly. So, question for today: what are 3 examples of beans and legumes?
Black beans.
Kidney beans? Kidney beans. What are the health benefits of beans and legumes? What do you get from them?
Yes. Protein.
Of course, thank you, right? The bacteria are saying thank you. What else? Fiber. Protein, yeah, wonderful protein. And remember all the minerals: potassium, manganese, iron, folate. What are some strategies that you guys are thinking about including legumes in your upcoming week? In your salads, soups, chips, yeah, chips with the dips, dips for chips or whatever, right? Why not? So, action for this upcoming week: everything stays from the previous week. The only thing that you will be, maybe I might add one more. Pick your bedtime strategy for sleep, right? It's very unique to each of us. So I really don't want to kind of, turn off your electronics, right? That gets very challenging sometimes. So I want you to pick your bedtime strategy for restful sleep so that each of you can find that restful sleep. I will also add half a cup of legumes to your daily eating pattern. Do it in a way that works for you. I would say, I would put in there added my amount of legumes, right? So you pick how much you want to: quarter cup, half cup, 1 cup, whatever feels like, doable to you, whatever is gut friendly for you. You know what amount will not bring out the gas for you. So work with how it feels in your body, right? The taste, what is that? Chickpeas is getting ready there. Thank you very much. I will see you next Saturday. Here is to another week of investing in your own health by incorporating a lot of colors in your plate, prioritizing protein as part of your meals, and even some whole carbohydrates. We'll talk about whole grains, nuts, and seeds next week, which is the last week of the series, and kind of bring it all together in our next class. Thank you very much, guys, for your attention. Thank you.